It's on 12 Plus as we continue our weather coverage right now.
That's right, and things kind of kicking off with a bang. We have a lot of activity happening across the state of Arizona. Here in the valley, though, our main concern so far has been the dust. We've had reduced visibility in many areas of the valley. In fact, we have a dust storm warning that's in effect right now for Maricopa County.
All right, so let's get it going around the valley as we'll take you around with our staff, starting with Crystal Long, who is live in our weather tracker in Chandler. Crystal, what's the latest out there?
Yeah, we're safely inside the car and not going out there because the air quality has turned to total trash from this dust storm that actually set off my phone at 5:51. So we've been dealing with dust tainting the air since that time in this area of Chandler. To be exact, we're in a pool off that's just to the east of I-10 on Queen Creek. And the wind first got stirred up. You could see it still blowing the branches. We've got dust that has been blowing on through in different bursts. At times our visibility drops next to nothing. In other cases, we could see a little bit better, but just look at how dirty the air is. And in the distance, I mean, you can't see anything. It is just completely blotted out by this blowing dust. And then off to the east where the camera is panning now, just a couple of minutes before we started going live here, there was a big old bolt that just lit up the sky. So now we're adding that new threat. Not only do we have areas of blowing dust and dust storm intensity in some spots, but we've got the threat of lightning and also rain in our state, triggering the threat for flash flooding in some spots. So all hazards at play here, but especially the dust impacting us here in the valley. And for two reasons, you just want to stay inside. For one, it just makes it so dangerous to be on the roads. It can just knock out your visibility in what seems like a snap of a finger, and it could last for minutes or an hour or more. You just don't know what you're dealing with. So you want to avoid traveling when you get those emergency alerts on your phone for a dust storm warning. But if you happen to be out driving and all of a sudden you get caught up in the commotion of a dust storm, you want to completely pull off the road as soon as possible. Don't stop in the shoulder. Get totally off the freeway, bail off of that street, find a parking lot, find a safe place that you can go far from the road, turn off all your lights, including your flashers, and stay buckled in and wait it out. And then, of course, the other issue is I'm staying inside the car because the air quality is quickly deteriorating with all this dust. We did a live hit at 12 News at 6 outside before the dust really kicked in, and I was already crunching dust in my teeth and coughing. So it's only gotten worse. So don't be surprised if we're dealing with air quality issues that linger into tomorrow, or perhaps even more dust gets piled up on top of what we're dealing with right now. We're live in Chandler. Going to send it back to you in the studio now.
All right, Crystal, thanks, especially for our viewers that maybe have health conditions, that you have asthma or you have COPD or something.
Yes.
Best advice, stay indoors. And if you're in your car, put it on recirculate so you're not sucking in that dust into your car. Crystal, thanks.
Yeah, and it's especially important for people living out in those rural areas. You have so much open desert. You've got a lot of farmland out there, just a lot of dust to be disrupted when those gusty winds come through. All right, we're going to head out to Santan Valley. This is where Chase Go Lightly is right now. And in your earlier shot, Chase, there was just a lot going on. There's a lot of dust in that field behind you. It was just blinding dust for drivers there. You also mentioned that there was a raindrop or two. How are conditions looking now?
Well, Creepy, the winds are still very active, but that dust is stopped right now. I think most of it is in my mouth and hair right now. I was able to take off the goggles, but we threw on the safety vest because at some points you couldn't even see 20 feet ahead of you. Just to give you a wider view of what we're seeing right now, a lot of dark clouds, and you mentioned rain. We are feeling a lot more droplets coming down right now. To give you a general idea of where we are, South Gilbert, we're about at Val Vista and Queen Creek Road right now. Again, a lot of dark clouds. We are feeling the rain start to come down. And while the dust has stopped here, I want to pan off and show you off in the distance. That's the Apache Junction, East Mesa area. And we're just seeing, again, walls of dust. At one point, you couldn't even see 4 peaks off there in the distance just because of how high all that dust was. But it has calmed down right now. Again, those winds are consistent. You can maybe, if we can pan over to these trees, you can see those trees really moving. Again, we haven't seen any branches coming down, but just leaves, small twigs, and just parts of palm trees flying off in the distance. A lot of dirt in the crevices and cracks of the road and in the middle of the street from what unfolded here about 20 to 30 minutes ago. I'm actually starting to feel more raindrops coming down as I'm speaking to you. We are waiting for that storm to move more into this direction, but again, as Crystal mentioned, if you're out here driving and you do get caught up in that dust storm, you definitely want to pull off, turn off the lights, and just wait it out. You just want to be very cautious during this whole time. But I'll tell you, with how much dust was here, I would not want to be the owner of a pool right now. I imagine all those are just covered in dust there at the bottom of the pool because of those strong wind gusts that we're seeing. And again, just all that wind and dust. We are also seeing some lightning strikes to the east of us where we are right now. And again, just a little few raindrops, but things have certainly calmed down. The only thing that we're experiencing is a little bit of light rain that's actually picking. I can feel it hitting my skin right now. A little bit of light rain, and those winds are consistent. They've let up a little bit. The temperatures have dropped, so it is feeling nice. Better driving conditions out here. But again, about 30 minutes ago, it was just a totally different scenario, but things have calmed down, so we're going to go ahead and send it back to you guys in studio.
Yeah, that would be nice to get some a good soaking rain to just kind of wash off all of that dust.
Yeah,
that's
just
everywhere.
get it out of the air at least for a couple of days. And, Chris, we'll check back in with him, but Chris is saying that we're going to get much better as far as the dust and the dirt and even the temperatures over the next few days.
Yeah, and in fact, we mentioned a dust storm warning at the top of our coverage, and now Chris is saying that that is now a dust storm advisory. So we should just be on the lookout for more of that blowing dust. So the threat's not gone, but the warning at least has now been downgraded to an advisory. Okay, we want to go out to Gabriella Becerra. She is live in Phoenix. She continues our coverage right now. Gabby, how are things looking?
Well, Green Bay, we're near 16th Street in Washington, and things are kind of ebbing and flowing. Right now, you can see it's pretty hazy out towards South Mountain there. For a while there, we could start to see the mountain a little bit better, but in the last 5 minutes or so, just since we really started talking to you again, everything started moving in, the dust, the haze, all of that. And the wind really started to pick up. So you can see those palm trees have really been moving around a lot. That one in the distance there just almost looks like it could fall over, but doesn't look like that'll happen. A lot of blowing leaves and dust. We can not see it very much, but we can feel it. The photographer I'm with, and I can feel we're like getting pelted by dust. It's getting in our eyes. So definitely not something that we want to be walking around in. Out this way, you can see the lights just past Chase Field, and even a plane coming in right here, the Southwest plane to our left. We've seen a lot of these planes coming in. Doesn't seem like they're having too many problems, but we did just a few minutes ago see one that kind of came in for a landing but then took off. But the rest of them seem like they're landing just fine. Visibility out here, not bad. Drivers seem like they're doing just fine, but again, it picked up in just the last few minutes or so. So we are starting to feel some of that blowing dust. I think that Chase was feeling earlier, but other than that, conditions look good. So we'll toss it back to you guys.
All right, Gabby, thank you. Let's continue our coverage with 12 News journalist Rachel Cole. She is joining us live in downtown Phoenix at 2nd Street and Fillmore. And Rachel, winds are really picking up there now for you.
Yeah, things a lot different now. And we were in the West Valley earlier today, and boy, this is two different forecasts. It's insane. So these poor road crews down here continue to try to pick up the stop signs. They're putting more and more sandbags on top of it, obviously, to keep things safe on the streets, but they're having a hard time. I mean, they are just packing bag after bag after bag. And I was curious at how heavy they were, but since they're so far down, I asked Philip, my photographer, to grab me this one. This one's about 20 pounds. And yeah, they're just not working. The winds are that strong. So you've got that. If you look over here, we're over by Chase Field. So you've got all these stop signs that have just continued to fall. And the wind is incredibly strong right now. The vendors that have been outside the ballpark have packed up. They're gone. Obviously, first pitch already kicked off. But they decided to pack up shop just a little bit early because it's way too windy. And as Gabby was saying, it's tough to see South Mountain. But about 20 minutes or so, we couldn't even see the air traffic control tower at Sky Harbor where that ground stop is in place. Things a little bit more clear, But I mean, yeah, if you can get past the dust, the temperature is absolutely amazing. Like I said, I mean, we were out at Luke Air Force Base all day, about 107 degrees out there on the flight line, and it's incredibly different, but the wind and the dust are enough to make it not pleasant. And then a couple of lightning strikes out over South Mountain as well. So things just looking pretty nasty out there to our southwest. And flights, yes, still coming in, but whether or not they're circling until it's safe to land, I do not know. There's no way to tell. I've looked on Sky Harbor's website for a couple of updates, and there goes one of those stop signs. Let's see. Oh, nope, it was the street closed sign. So yeah, those keep blowing over, and it's just pretty nasty. So yeah, if you don't have to be outside, definitely go ahead, stay safe, stay indoors. And hopefully, yeah, we'll get some of that much needed rain. Guys, we'll send it back to you.
All right, Rachel, thanks. I'll tell you the other thing is, if you wear contacts, being out where Rachel is right now in the element, I don't even know if Rachel wears contacts.
I do.
Does
It
she?
is.
Oh,
I
you
don't
wear
know.
contacts.
I wear contacts.
Yeah,
It's horrible.
It's why I wear glasses.
Yeah, no kidding. It is so bad, Chris.
Yeah.
So we need that rain, just, to come in, clean all that nasty air out, and just bring us that nice, good smell. Is that going to happen?
Chris,
Yeah,
it
I think
seems
so.
like they're all around us right now.
Yeah.
You look and we have them down towards moving up from Tucson and Casa Grande, and that's usually where we get a lot. When we get a good valley rain, it usually seems to come up from that direction.
Yeah, that southeast direction coming up from Tucson across Pinal County. We get a lot of blowing dust. And then eventually, it's I call them late bloomers. Those storms coming up from the south, meeting up with the storms that develop along the rim, and everything kind of converges and comes together right on top of the valley. We've seen this play a number of times, and we know the ending. Sometimes it's a little bit different ending, but usually it ends with some pretty good rain for parts of the valley. Just checking in some of the wind gusts. Phoenix at Sky Harbor Airport, 39-mile-per-hour gusts. It's a sustained wind at 28 miles per hour now out of the east. Just a couple of hours ago, it was light out of the west. So that has changed. That number has changed. It was 108 degrees for our high today, 95 and coming down, and our dew point is at 57, so plenty of moisture around. Mesa Gateway Airport, a wind gust at 48 miles per hour. This is the East Valley looking towards the Superstitions, and I can't see any mountains. You can kind of see some brownish haze off in the distance, so there is some blowing dust in the East Valley. The reason for this dust is because these thunderstorms, they build up and then it cools off the air and that rushes down to the ground and it kicks up a lot of this dust across the desert, and then that moves right up into the Phoenix area. This is kind of a classic case of what we typically see during the monsoon and these dust storms and the areas of blowing dust. This is an outflow boundary. This is the gusty outflow from one of those thunderstorms up north, that green line that's moving across the valley, just now crossing the Estrellas and past South Mountain. And then additional storms down to the south are trying to move up and meeting together, and that forces the air upward and reinvigorates these showers and thunderstorms. So we do have some rain that is nearby. Eventually, we're going to get that rain to fall in the valley. A couple of the other wind reports we had, Chandler gusting to 46, Mesa Falcon Field at 39, and Deer Valley Airport gusting to 40 miles per hour. So a lot of gustiness around there, a lot of dustiness in the air, and a lot of rain, as Mark mentioned, all around the valley. And it started out in the high country, Flagstaff, and down to Payson, Heber and Snowflake, and down into the White Mountains and Show Low area. The rain really cooling things off, Globe and Kearney, and then eventually all of this will end up here in the valley. We still have quite a bit of storminess down here to the south in Pima County, South Pinal County, and southern Maricopa County, and that is going to feed into the valley. We're kind of basically untapped right now. We have that dust storm advisory. It's in effect until 7:30 tonight because of the areas of blowing dust. We're not seeing a solid wall of dust with 1 mile or less visibility, but we do have a lot of dust in the air right now and a lot of rain showing up on the radar. This is the extent, the aerial extent of our dust advisory. Santan Valley to about Apache Junction, the US 60 and the 202, the super red tan. and to the town of Maricopa, and then out just south of Buckeye, where a lot of this dust is being swirled up. A flood advisory now in effect for, it looks like, the Queen Creek area because of that one flash of some really heavy rain. Yeah, you can see the green outline of that box. It looks like that was just recently issued. It goes until 10:30 tonight for the Queen Creek area, for that little corner of Maricopa County, where Maricopa meets Pinal County, down here to the south. So one big flare-up of thunderstorms, and then that kind of went off to the east. But additional storms are developing down here to the south, right along the Maricopa-Pinal County line, and more rain, a whole lot of rain, a boatload of rain down here to the south. Flash flood warning in effect for far southern. Looks like that would be Maricopa County, way, way far south. This is south of Interstate 8. And also south of Casa Grande, a flood watch in effect because of the potential for more rain over some of these areas. Meanwhile, out over the western deserts, we've had some really big flare-ups of thunderstorms with probably some small hail. You see the little white, it looks like almost a golf ball right on top of the thunderstorm signature here on the radar. On our scale here, if it shows up as white, that is the most intense echo, and that's typically as hail. If you think about it, when the radar beam hits a raindrop, it reflects back some of the signal. Well, if it hits something solid, like a hailstone, it's ice, and it'll give a really strong return back to the radar. So typically hail will give the strongest return back to the radar. Those storms kind of fizzling out, but more are re-energizing south of Wickenburg, and that whole mess is moving towards the valley. A severe thunderstorm warning in effect for the Lake Havasu City area. This is just north of Lake Havasu City until 7:30 tonight. And bouncing back here to the valley, Apache Junction, Florence, Coolidge, Casa Grande, flare-ups of this rain is showing up. Is again all southeast of the valley, but just starting to move back in, getting closer and closer and closer. This is the Loop 202 freeway, the Santan freeway right here, and it's kind of right on the verge. So Maricopa, you're getting the rain right now. Just to the south, this is the South Mountain Freeway right here. And the Goodyear area, looks like you're starting to pick up some of that rain as well. Where that outflow boundary is meeting up with that rain, look how things are flaring up so quickly. So it, again, re-energizes these showers and these thunderstorms when these outflow boundaries collide and come together. Into tonight now until about 11 p.m., the most active hours for this setup for the valley. Showers, thunderstorms, blowing dust with a few downpours out there. And also can't discount the dangerous lightning and along with the gusty winds too. Lightning is always, it's kind of an underrated danger, but it will be out there. Be safe. If you hear lightning, you want to go indoors. When thunder roars, head indoors. That's the safest place to be. Look at the impact on temperatures from the rain, the clouds, and the wind. 88 Casa Grande, 95 in Phoenix. We were 108 earlier today. Payson is only 63. That's actually warmer than it was last hour. It was 61. 63 in Flagstaff, 75 in Sedona, and Tucson at 77 degrees. So the rain and the wind really cooling things off. Heavy rain risk from basically around Flagstaff into the mountains and areas east and south of Phoenix, including Tucson and Casa Grande, but not including the valley. We will get some rain through this evening, just not the heavy rain and the flooding type of rain. This is a live look at Tucson right now for the campus of the U of A. The Catalina Mountains off in the distance, and it looks like Tucson's weather for the most part is starting to wind down a little bit. You had a little more than 1/3 of an inch of rain earlier. 105 in the valley tomorrow, 106 on Friday. Those are below average temperatures, by the way. 107 is normal for this time of year. By Saturday, 108. And you know what? That trend is going to continue into next week, and we have another round of 110 plus on the way with another weather impact alert in effect for the extreme temperatures. For tonight, our weather impact alert is for the gusty storms. Stay with 12 News and here on 12 Plus for the latest updates. That severe thunderstorm warning in effect for portions of Maricopa County. This is just south of Interstate 10. This looks like this is a brand new one that was just issued. These will pop up on the screen as they are issued. So this one goes until 8 o'clock. This is just to the south of Buckeye. It's the 85 between Buckeye and Gila Bend. This is really just kind of blossoming rather rapidly. So a quick blooming thunderstorm here just to the south of Buckeye. Buckeye proper, where the 85 meets up with I-10. If you get closer into the West Valley, we're seeing additional thunderstorms really flaring up rather quickly. The Estrella Mountains right here, so the tail end of the Estrellas around Goodyear and Levine and Avondale is kind of in this area where you're starting to see things really starting to blow up, along with that outflow boundary that came in from the north. Flood advisory again in effect for the Queen Creek area because of that quick splash of some showers. And again, a lot of rain down here to the south from Casa Grande all the way down basically to the Mexican border. And additional showers and thunderstorms are kind of redeveloping here. It's a dynamic situation. So things are kind of bubbling up and then they fall apart and then they bubble up again. But where some of these storms meet up, where we haven't had any rain so far, where it meets up with those showers down to the south, it really forces things up and it can get things going in a hurry. And so it's all around us. And eventually this rain will push into the valley. We've seen this time and time again where the storms develop all around the valley, and it's not until late in the afternoon or late into the evening where we start to finally get that rain. About the time the sun goes down, say 7:30, 8 o'clock, and here we are at 7:25 on a Wednesday evening, and we're starting to see the signs of that rain pushing into the West Valley and the Southwest Valley. This is the 202 South Mountain Freeway right here. This is I-17, and the Loop 303 and the Loop 101 is right there. So those are the areas that we're starting to see that rain develop. Weather impact alert, again, until 11 o'clock tonight for the showers and thunderstorms. Be safe. Watch us for those latest updates. Again, when thunder roars, head indoors. And when you don't know how deep the water is, turn around, don't drown, because we are finding some areas of flooding rain. I want to bring in the 7-day forecast real quick for you just to show you what to expect. 20% chance of lingering showers tomorrow. Then it really starts to dry out. The 4th of July will be sunny, 106. And there's that new round of 110 plus that I was talking about. The extreme heat really kicks in on Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday. Another weather impact alert for us. Mark and Caribe, back over to you.
All right, Chris, thanks. And thank you for joining us here on 12 Plus. We'll be back at 8:30 with another weather impact alert update. And of course, we'll see you back here later on tonight for 12 News at 10. Thanks for watching.